Bang Bang MMA gang. So Muhammad Mokaev misses weight. Completely misses weight. And the UFC let him get away with it. Matter of fact, I'm going to go as far as to say the UFC let him get away with it. So Muhammad Mokaev was late to weighing in, obviously, because Muhammad Mokaev is a weight bully. Muhammad Mokaev is supposed to be a 35er masquerading as a 25er. So Muhammad Mokaev walks in. You can tell he's already delirious. The weight cut got to him, and he's kind of like moving side to side, like he knows he's going to miss weight. So he walks up the stairs. As he's about to go on the scale, Muhammad Mokaev asks the guy weighing him in, who's a big dog, who's been doing weigh-ins for as far as I can remember. He asks him for the cover, the full around cover, so he can take off, go butt-booty naked, and make the weight, or at least try to make the weight. This is what we're all thinking as we're watching the weigh-in show. But no, the guy making him, the guy that's doing the scales at the time, tells Muhammad Mokaev, no, just get on the weigh. Get on the scale. Us watching, at that point, I'm like, is there something wrong? Because it seems like they're having like a disconnect. He tells him, no, just get on the scale. Muhammad Mokaev proceeds to get on the scale, and what do you know? Record time, never been done before. Faster than Khabib made weight versus Justin Gaethje. Muhammad Mokaev makes weight in 0.2 seconds. It is impossible to take somebody's weight in 0.2 seconds. The weight didn't even calibrate yet. The weight wasn't even, it was still going up and down. The guy said, whoop, you made weight. You look at Mokaev's face, he is in utter disbelief. He's trying to hide it as much as he can, but he's absolutely in shock. I made weight? I didn't need the covers? We're getting to the point where if I make assumptions, I'm the bad guy. Now, Muhammad Mokaev is the only, how can I say this? The only Muslim that we know other than Tatsuro Bekov that's ranked at flyweight. So, obviously, Muhammad Mokaev he's not even a big draw, but you need a guy like Muhammad Mokaev in some sort of talks when it comes to the UFC Saudi or UFC Abu Dhabi. So, I don't get it. Does the UFC like Mokaev or not? You help him make weight, but at the same time, it's his last fight of his contract. He's not on the main card. He's not on the prelims. He's on the early prelims. Like, UFC, make up your decision. Do you like the kid or not? It's obvious that you're making him make weight. I don't know for what reason. He is boring. My nigga, it's like when Mason was telling Shakur Stevenson, my nigga, you boring. You boring, bro. Like, let's be honest, Muhammad Mokaev completely misses weight. He is in utter disbelief, utter shock, and the UFC let him get away with it. You can see it in his face, like, oh, I just made weight. The guy has to be trialed for absolute, like, the worst of the worst. You have to be fired for that. Either he got the call right before that telling him Mokaev's about to miss weight. The second he gets on, help him make weight. Like, what are we doing, UFC? The guy is not good. He sucks. Manel Cap is going to finish him off. Don't worry about nothing. Muhammad Mokaev misses weight, and that is that. Leon, we have breaking leaked news. John Gooden, the good old John Gooden, at the UFC weigh-in show, tells the world, announces to the world something we do not know. Brandon Royval is going to face Tatsuro Taira. Now, man, the UFC is going to hate him for that one because nobody would have guessed that fight. Could I have guessed it if I were to make a prediction? I could have maybe guessed it, but Tatsuro Taira versus Brandon Royval is set and is going to happen sometime in the fall. Now, guy like Brandon Royval, I feel sorry for him. He reminds me of like Ortega. Brandon Royval, only losses are to the champ Alexandre Pantoja, and Brandon Moreno, which he beat Brandon Moreno. He came back and beat Brandon Moreno, which was considered low-key a number one contenders match. He doesn't get the title shot after that. Like Brian Ortega, on the other hand, his only two losses in the UFC are Max Holloway and Alexander Volkanovski. That fucking Yair was not a loss, it was an injury. So he reminds me of that type of situation to where it's like a number one contenders match. Yair versus Ortega, and then the same as Brandon Royval versus Brandon Moreno. But he beats Brandon Moreno, who's number one. Now he has to fight Tatsuro Taira. Now, I love Tatsuro Taira. He has a lot of potential. But he beat Alex Perez. And Alex Perez is a dog, but he's 1-3 in his last 4. What are we fucking doing? Alex Perez is 1-3 in the last 4. Tatsuro Taira didn't even beat him. It was like a fluke injury where he snapped his knee. You consider that a win? A win is a win, fuck it. But to get Brandon Royval right after that, I would have to take a look at the rankings, but I'm sure there's somebody else he could have fought. He could have fought the winner of this, Mokaev, and actually, no, I wouldn't do that. Maybe like a Brandon Moreno. Brandon Moreno is coming off a loss. So if Brandon Moreno would have made sense, the loser of Royval Moreno made sense. But no, they just gave him Royval because they don't like Royval. He's like a pity pat, 1-1-2, 1-1-1-2, 1-2-2-3. Like Brandon Royval is a pity pat. He doesn't really have finishing power. He has good elbows, I guess. He has eye jiu-jitsu, but he can get held down. It's sad. They're trying to get rid of Brandon Royval. It's sad. John Gooden, you fucked up. You told us Royval versus Tatsuro Taira. Now, if I were to make an early prediction, it's another case. I would go with the Brandon Royval. Brandon Royval can eke out a decision 100%. He can, even though Tatsuro Taira's jiu-jitsu is all world, I personally would take Brandon Royval in a pity-pat 5-round decision. It's probably going to be a 5-rounder, and that is that. Like, share, subscribe, tell a friend to tell a friend that the MMA gang is in, and that is that.